Greetings and welcome again to this space, this time and this place. Force signifies or denotes leadership, charisma, life, circumspection, equilibrium, the ability to use strategy through times of warfare, but more so using creativity and strategy to come up with sensible results and solutions. Shango is known as a drummer as well as a dancer, and in those two connotations, when you're dealing with the drum represents unity. But not only unity, the drum also represents the ability to call people to a certain unified cause and to get them to call them to alert or to call them to attention. The drum also has the ability to awaken the planet or awaken the feminine earth energy through vibration. Okay, but we also have him as a dancer. Now, usually in mythology, when you read anything or see anything that deals with dance, dancing is also considered a form of warfare, and it's also considered a form of intercourse. All right, so dancing, fighting, and intercourse are actually interchangeable terms. Now, with these three concepts of, again, dancing, fighting, and intercourse, if you look at each one of them, each one is actually done to come to some sort of unified conclusion or solution, whether it be warfare, and that's more in a traditional sense. Dancing, whether it be battling or combining the energy of two different people to move so fluently that it would seem like one person, or again intercourse, where the oftentimes end result or aim or objective is to create a life which would be the culmination of the understanding of the two people who have engaged in that act. Okay, going back to even the drumming examples dealing with Shango, drumming is also a form of communication. So often Shango will come to certain conclusions or come to certain solutions, resolutions, through the use of communication, strategic communication, okay, as signified by the drum. Shango's earth element would be lightning, as well as air, as well as fire. So he has a combination of different elements that he operates and works through. Some of the implements that you would see possibly at a Shango shrine would be the Oshe, which is a double-headed axe that Shango wields, as well as cedar wood. He's known to work with cedar, volcanic stone, the Jakuta, is a term that is used for him, which is the firestone thrower. So you may find stones that were gathered from a river during a thunderstorm. Also, one of the implements you could possibly see are horsetail whisk, which represent rulership or the throne. You also find horses, which also represent rulership. These are all things that may even possibly surface in a night vision or in a day vision, and it gives you an idea of what Orisha or what cosmic force may be communicating to you through their particular symbols. One of the things that I do share with my students often when communicating with the spirit world is that the spirit world does not use a language as humans know it to be in order to communicate. Typically what's used are feelings and symbols. So it's key whenever you get an opportunity to look at a shrine of not just Orisha, but even an ancestral shrine, or a shrine of a luau, or the shrine of a Necharu, or any system. Start to kind of memorize or at least lock into your subconscious mind the symbols that are being presented, and some of the symbols and the feelings that that particular energy matrix inspires in the person that is working with it. You can ask those sort of questions. You can ask, well, what does this represent? What does that represent? And that will begin to actually increase your ability to communicate with the spirits more intelligently, and really begin to have two-way communication a bit more, as well as convey and translate the messages that you receive in the spirit world and the physical in a way that is coherent. So again, back to the Shango energy. This is a cosmic energy. This Shango energy. This is a cosmic energy that is invoked and evoked for the purposes of ascendancy, for the purposes of also subduing and controlling your enemies through strategy. Okay, so for those of you who are going through situations where you are going up against people who are constantly trying to dethrone you or demean you or degrade you, a perfect energy to call upon would be that Shango matrix. Because Shango deals with communication, you can actually call upon Shango to bind the tongue of your enemies. Okay, there's certain rituals you can do, even with using a yucca root, which is also sacred to Shango. The dandelion leaves are sacred to Shango. Okay, you can look in my book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power, and look at all of the ewe, or the herbs, or even the stones that are sacred to Shango. You could use these in order to defeat and dominate and subdue your enemies, as well as to ascend to your own personal throne. Remember, Shango brings justice, restores Ma'at, restores the will of Obatala. Haru restores the will of Asor, avenges Asor against the injustice and the violations of Set or Satan. Okay, so you can take a yucca root, and put 21 nails into it while praying or affirming, because I don't really deal with the prayer thing so much, but while affirming to Shango, and you put those nails in it, and you make that the tongue of your enemy, while wrapping it as well with red string or red yarn. You put that by a tree. Okay, and you say Obakosi 3 times. Obakosi means the king does not hang, and you offer this to Shango in order to bind the tongue of your enemies. You can also leave whiskey or dark rum, as well as obi. Now you want the bitter obi, not the typical one that's used for casting. Okay, but you can leave the obi, the cola nut, or just you could leave some rum or some whiskey in a cigar, and you offer that to Shango in order to bind the tongue of your enemy. Alright, so as always, I'm thankful and indebted to all of the energies that work along with me, that work along with you, to bring you to this moment in space, to glean something of value and something of worth from what it is that I am presenting to you. And I say Odabo, peace, Uhuru Sasa, Shem Hotep. I go in peace.